you ready to branch out, to take a leap of faith, to love yourself and others fully? Then let go of whatever no longer serves you to take action now on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Erica will energize and excite you to power up your passionate dream that sets your soul on fire. With Erica's E3 approach, equipping, empowering, and enlightening yourself so you can be yourself for yourself. Get ready and get rooted to live a life without regrets, without what ifs, without should haves, and especially without empty feelings from a life unexplored. This hit show helps you build powerful and intentional roots to live it up, love it up, and let it go. Get fearlessly ready and powerfully rooted in your yes with your host, Erica Gifford Mills, and be fearless about your more and stand in your yes. Now on Get Rooted Radio.
Welcome, everyone. I am Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio, living it up, loving it up, letting it go, right here on Transformation Talk Radio. A big shout out, as always, to my producer, Nat. Nat, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Hello, Erica. I'm doing great today. One day after the Oscars, excited. Was very happy with the results. I was very happy about the Latvian animated movie about the cat, Flo. That movie is beautiful. It is so adorable. Very happy for that.
You ruined the surprise. I haven't seen all the results. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Well, and I think just like the Oscars, right? When we get out there, when we have people are producing movies, acting in movies, we want to know that our message matters. And that's just what today's episode is about. Knowing that your message matters. And my guest, Toni Caruso, and I will discuss how you can get on stage and use your voice as your greatest asset. We will explore how to use your story wisely to build your expertise as you develop your business. And listeners, you will learn to understand not only who you are speaking to, but also why you are speaking to them. So why choose you? What is your unique selling proposition? And why do your stories, experiences, and message matter? And that's what we're going to talk about during today's segment. But first, a little bit about my guest. With over 30 years of event production experience, Toni has brilliantly managed and successfully organized events small and large for the entertainment, corporate, and business-to-business worlds. Toni has taken her skills, experience, and behind-the-scenes event knowledge to professionals so they can help educate, inform, and share their genius live on stage. She operates in the speaking world as she guides, teaches, and helps speakers, experts, and gifted messengers stand out and monetize their message. Thank you so much, Toni, for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
So before we jump into this first segment, tell listeners how you got into this line of business.
Well, as you said, 30 years of the event production, I'm in the back of the room. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening and working with hundreds and hundreds of speakers. And one day I had a speaker that just stood out. She did everything wrong. She gave me information late. She didn't have her PowerPoint correctly. She didn't know how to use the micro. There were just one thing after another, and I realized they don't know what they don't know. That speakers, they have these great messages, and they want to share them with the world. They want to change the world. Great. But speaking, ultimately, it's a business, and they didn't understand how the business matters and how, if they learn the business of speaking, they could then exponentially help people share their stories on bigger and better stages, ultimately building their business to higher and higher heights.
And that is important because we say we want to be out on stage, but unless we know the audience, how do we do that? And so I think let's start there.
Okay.
How does one decide who their ideal audience is?
Well, my first suggestion is you look in the mirror, because you are probably your ideal client. There's something that happened to you, like, for instance, me watching this woman fail and fail and fail on speaking just because she didn't know what she didn't know. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I should start teaching speakers the business of speaking. But maybe it was an absolutely horrible divorce you went through, and you came home and the house was empty and all the furniture was gone and there's no money in the bank and you had to start from scratch and overcome that, and you succeeded in finding your way and getting through it, and all that experience and all those things you learned you can then share with other people who are just now going through it. So usually you are your ideal client.
So when speakers, right, new speakers want to get on stage, why is that important to know their ideal client?
Because if you don't know who you're talking to, I mean, I have several people like, oh, I'm a weight loss expert. Everybody needs to lose weight. Well, yeah, everyone needs to lose weight, but what is your specialty? What are you known for? Are you known for postmenopausal, post-pregnancy weight loss? Do you help beauty queens get down to that beauty queen size? What is your niche? And if you don't know a niche down, and so you know exactly who you're talking to everyone is like talking to no one. So if you know who you're talking to, when you are negotiating stages to step on, you need to ask them, who's the audience in the room? You can go into a room and give a brilliant speech, but if they're not your ideal audience, you're going to walk away and say, man, I failed. Not one person asked me a question. Not one person came up to me or bought my program. And it might not have been you. You might have been brilliant. The audience was wrong.
So in looking for your ideal audience, what would be some of the things that you're going to ask not only yourself so that you know, but then when you get to that point, what are some of those questions that should be asked of the event planner?
Great question. Great question. So I would start with age. Are you a woman who speaks to 50 and older? Are you a woman that speaks with millennials, Gen X's, Gen Z, whatever the new acronym is, whatever that is? But who is it age-wise? Where are they in their business? Are they just starting out? Have they been in business 5 years? Are they at the $500,000 level trying to get to the $1 million level? Or are they just trying to get to six figures? Where are they in their business? Also, are they men? Are they women? Are they moms? Are they brick and mortar or entrepreneurs? Are they employees or C-suite executives? If you don't have those perimeters and you don't know who you're talking to and who your ideal audience is, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money traveling to be on stages that are not the right stage for you.
Yeah, and that's important, especially when you're trying to, as we get further along, we'll talk a little bit about this, but as you're trying to then monetize that, right? Is because if that's not the right, you might have a great presentation and people really resonated with what you were saying, but then that was it. There's nothing that came from your call to action or anything else as you're getting through there.
Exactly. I mean, I could tell a story. I was an event planner. I gave up the event business when I got married and had a baby. I stayed home, and then I became the Uber volunteer. And then I saw that my son's friends had no manners, so I became an etiquette trainer. And I was asked to speak at an Optimist Club. I didn't know what an Optimist Club was. I thought it was like a Rotary or a chamber, and my whole talk was about bringing your children up so they had good manners. Well, I get in that room, and everyone there is over the age of 65, 70. They didn't have little children. They were all grandparents. So I had to switch that talk immediately. And let me tell you, I wasn't seasoned at it and didn't do a great job, but they were lovely to me. But I didn't know my audience. I didn't ask the question so that I was prepared to have the right talk for the right audience.
And that's important because it's going to show how you are in the business, right? Because if you can, and not everybody can switch on a dime like that, like you said, especially if you're just starting out in the, a speaking arena, and that can be a lot harder to do. So when we're looking, like, what if we don't know what our niche is? Like, how do we do that? If, who do you speak to? Well, as you said, if you speak to everybody, you're speaking to no one. But so how do we narrow that down if we're not sure really what our niche is?
Well, you just have to ask yourself some questions. First off, if you do have a business, look at who your favorite client is. Who is that one person that every time they call, you go, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to her. And then who that client is that you go, oh, not him again. Exact. So who is that client that you love and you love helping, and they're really action takers, and they're the people that when you share things with them, they're like, oh my God, I never even knew that. Who is that? Write it out. What do they look like? Give them a name. Your ideal audience is your ideal client. Who do you want to work with? And then who don't you want to work with? You need to know that just as well. And when I talk about niching it down, are you a financial advisor for people just getting out of college? But are you a financial advisor for people who are going into retirement? It's a different conversation that you're having with them. So if you're talking in generalizations that I'm a financial advisor and I help everyone retire with lots of money, well, where are they in life? If I'm just starting out, what does that mean? My brother used to always say to me, Toni, when you start working, put 10% of what you make into a savings account so that it can build. I couldn't afford to put 10% away. So if you're talking over my head, I'm not going to go up to you and ask those questions and say, can we talk some more? They have to see themselves in your expertise.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about clarity of your message. But before we go, Toni, tell folks how they can connect with you, learn more about you and your services.
Oh, I always say, check me out on Instagram. It's the best way. DM me. I am at Toni Caruso Events.
Thank you so much. You're listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any portion of today's episode, you can catch it on getrootedradio.com. That's getrootedradio.com. Don't forget to subscribe online to receive the latest news, events, specials, and words of encouragement. Go to getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Toni Caruso. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. I love being here. Thank you very much for asking me.
Well, so during the last segment, we discussed knowing your audience and why that is so important. And during this segment, we're going to explore the clarity of your message. So first, what does that all mean? The clarity of the message.
What does that mean? Clarity of message. If you're not clear on who you help and who you serve, how are they going to know that you're the right person for them? We're so busy saying, I can do this, and I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do, and it's all about you. I should not even be a part of the conversation. It should all be about, we help people like you. We help you become a better speaker. We help you get on bigger stages. We help you share your message in front of your ideal audience so that you can build your business and get some wonderful raving fans. Get the I out of it.
Yeah. So, and that's so important, especially I feel like for new speakers or new entrepreneurs, because they're so excited just to get a client that sometimes they're willing to take anything. And I think that does a little bit of a disservice, not only to that client, but also them, because you need to make sure that you are serving your right population.
Right. And you also have to make sure that you go to networking events and they're like, okay, give us your 1 minute. And I help authors, speakers, and coaches overcome their fear and blah, 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 so that they can blah, 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 blah. And after a while, it gets really rote and nobody's listening. No one's listening. But if you go in there and you just say something that's so interesting so that people lean in and go, oh my gosh, tell me more. Like a financial advisor that would say, I help people die broke. And people go, what? Because she talks about, having enough money to have the life that you want in retirement and spend all your money before you die.
Yep. And I like that, because it is, you've caught them, right? You got a hook. And I was going to ask you about that, is because you mentioned that standard 1 minute pitch or your elevator speech.
Right.
When I first started out in corporate America, it was, what is your elevator speech? What if you got stuck in the elevator with the CEO? What would you say? And why is that a mistake? And you touched upon it just a little bit ago, but I think I want to explore that a little bit more. Why doing that standard 1 minute pitch or your elevator speech doesn't get you where you need to go?
Well, it's important to understand that if you were, let's visualize this. If you're in an elevator with the CEO and you turn to him and you say, "Hi, I help corporations like yours get more clients," and you're just spewing stuff, you're not having a conversation. I think what we forget is it's a conversation. You want to get them interested enough to where they say, "Oh," what you could say is, "Excuse me, aren't you John Smith? Yeah, you're the CEO of this company, right? Oh my gosh, I was on your website the other day and something that you said really caught my eye. I love the fact that you really want women to become better in your environment and get out there instead of this male dominated business." And I'm just throwing stuff out there, but I'm just saying, and he would say, "Oh, you like that?" Yeah, it's a conversation. Let them get to know you. If you start with the sale, you are going to turn the person off immediately.
Yep. Don't be that used car salesman. No offense to used car salesmen.
No,
I'm just
I
saying.
agree.
No, but I think you're right. It's not authentic when you go in there just to sell. But when you can actually have that dialogue and find out what is their issue, what are you
Right.
going to help them with? Because if you don't know what you're going to help them with, or that maybe that it isn't even an issue with them, now you might have just offended them without even realizing it.
I had a woman come in and it was a MLM company and they were selling healthcare products and they sat down with me and she just started going through her book. We have this and we have this and we have this, not knowing I had a son that was a football player that needed really good vitamins and really strong energy to be out on the field, and that my husband was ailing with some back injuries, whatever. But she's trying to sell me on neonatal things. She's given me the whole package instead of asking me some questions. Like, tell me
Yeah.
about your family. How old is your son? What's he into? Be curious. Be curious and ask questions. And by all means, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. He wants you to listen twice as much as you talk. So listen to their answers. And then when you're listening, go, "Oh, you know what? I have something that, I think might be of interest to you. Is it all right if I share that with you?"
Yeah, and I think that's important. So we know that the clarity of the message is important, but how do we go about finding that right message in for our target audience?
What I always say is, and we do this live at my Speakonomics events, I always have everyone get up, find somebody you don't know, and do your 1 minute pitch. All right, now find someone you don't know and do it in 45 minutes, but do it as a nursery story. Once upon a time, that kind of thing. Now do it in 30 seconds and do it from the other point of view. Like you're the person with the pain and the suffering or whatever. Do it from their point of view. All right, now we have all these different ways of talking. Now sit down and do it in 11 words or less.
Mm.
It makes them niche it down and look at things in different ways instead of that I, instead of that benefit, benefit, benefit. It's got to be pain, problem, mistake, solution. What's the problem that they're having? What's the mistake they're making? And what's your solution to it?
I love that. So can you repeat that again for listeners? Because I think that is so important, right? What you just said right there.
The
So
problem, mistake, the PMS. Women will
PMS.
understand. Remember PMS, right? We don't like it, but it can be a game changer. So the problem that most of the speakers that come to me always say is, "I want to get paid to speak." The mistake they make is they're looking for corporate associations and organizations to pay them money to get on stage, but they might not have the experience to get on the stage. But you know what? I have a solution for you. I can show you how you can pay yourself to speak on every stage by having the right offer, free or paid, so that when you step off that stage, people become your raving fans and want to work with you. Problem, mistake, solution.
Problem, mistake, solution. And that's the clarity of that message right there, is
Right.
making sure that we do it. So now we've talked about the knowing your audience, right? Making sure you have that clear message, that clarity of your message, and going to go then to see about which stage is right for you. We're going to get into that in the next segment. But what I want to know is any last tidbits for the clarity of message that listeners should know.
If you can get a group of your friends, and it doesn't have to be friends, maybe you're part of a networking group. I manage eWomen Network. So a lot of times when we're around the table, I'll say, everybody take a minute, do your 1-minute pitch, and then everybody gets a minute of feedback, and the table will tell you, do we know what you do for a living? Did it resonate with us? Is it something that I want to know more about? You have to ask those questions, because if you are just, out there vomiting on people and just sharing information, you're doing it wrong. So get the help you need, or find a really good coach that is going to work with you. Because let me tell you, once you're really clear and people know what you do, you become the expert in that field, and you are the go-to person that people are going to search out.
Thank you, Toni. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about which stage is right for you. Before we go, Toni, tell folks how they can connect with you and learn more about your services.
You are more than welcome. I have a website. I am ToniCaruso.com. Check it out and connect with me. I'm always available, and will always return an email or a DM message.
Thank you so much. I'm Erica Gifford Mills, and you are listening to Get Rooted Radio. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Don't forget to visit getrootedradio.com to listen to a replay of this episode, sign up for helpful tips, and learn about upcoming events. That's getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Toni Caruso. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, it's been a joy. You're a great interviewer, and it's very comfortable, and I love it. I feel like I'm home.
Oh, thank you so much, Toni. I appreciate that. So during the last two segments, we've talked about knowing your audience and the clarity of your message. And during this segment, we're going to guide our listeners who would like to get on those stages about which stage is the right one for them. So are you ready, really, to step on that stage, listeners? Which one is the best? So I think we want to start with just that, is how many stages are there, right? So if we say which one, it begs the question on, there's more than one?
Yes, there is more than one.
So I think, how many types of stages are there?
Well, there's 7 if we're really counting.
All
so,
right.
And when you say which one is right for you, it just depends on how long you've been speaking and how well you know your ROI, or your return on investment. But let's start with the first one. It's the pay to play. So that's the one where you have to understand events are extremely expensive, and especially after COVID, prices have doubled and tripled for the room, for the food, for the AV. So you have a lot of expenses to cover when you are an event planner. So don't think, oh, I'm paying them money and they're putting it in their pocket. No, it's going probably to the overhead. The ideal event pays for itself. It's like you just want to break even at the end of your event. And you're thinking, well, why are they doing events? Well, this is why. People pay to be on stage. So let's say, Erica, I ask you to be on my stage, and I say, it's $5,000 to be on my stage for 30 minutes. Well, Erica, what you get to do in those 30 minutes is whatever your talk is. And then if you have an offer, you get to keep 100% of whatever you sell in the room. That's stage number 1, pay to play. Stage number 2 is the pay to percentage to play. So let's say I say, Erica, I'm going to cut that one in half. It's $2,500 to speak on my stage. But you know what? I want 20% of whatever you sell in that audience. So I'm making my money on the back end. Then there's the straight percentage. There are some speakers that are just that good that you come on my stage, you don't pay any fees. It's free for you on the stage, but we're going to split that offer 50-50. And I've had speakers that have come on my stage that have spoken for 90 minutes that had a $2,000 offer that closed 65 people in my room. I made $65,000 in 90 minutes. They made $65,000 in 90 minutes. Not a bad deal for an hour and a half, right?
Yep.
So that's the pay to percentage. Then there's the straight speaking for free. So you can do those all day long, speak for free. But just understand that when you're speaking for free, make sure you're speaking to the right audience. But that can be that 10-minute talk at a chamber event, or that can be I'm speaking for free Friday at an event just to give me visibility, because there's nothing wrong with speaking for free. And then you have some sort of a free offer that you then give, and you collect emails. So that's 4. 5 is keynote. There's the keynote address. And so those are the ones where you get paid. Those are the ones where they say, you know what, we're going to have you come. I want you to do an inspiring story or a humorous story. We want you to come. You get 2 hours. You kick off our event. You're our keynote. And we're going to pay you $25,000 to speak on that stage. And that's like all day long. And then there's podcasts. Podcasts are one of the best ways for a new speaker to start speaking, because they are usually free. They are a great way to hone your message, to get that conversational speech ready, because you're not sitting there going, here's my slide, my number 1 slide, my number 2 slide, and you're not going through an actual speech. People are asking you questions, and it's a lot easier. It's more conversational, and you can hone your skills on podcasts. And there are over 4 million podcasts in the world today. All right, 4 million. And I think it's, I don't know, 2/3 of those are active and consistent. Let's say they're weekly. Like Erica does hers twice a month, right? So that means she's got to get 104 people, different people, to interview in a year. Most, if they do it every week, right? No. 12 months, 24 people. I'm sorry, my math was wrong. 52 weeks a year for those that are doing it every day. So think that you've got 2 million podcasters looking for 52 speakers. How many opportunities are there out there for you to take?
And those are great things to remember, because sometimes people think I have to be in person. I have to be literally on a stage. Whereas we have so many virtual opportunities, podcasts, virtual events, to get an opportunity to get out there, right? To be able to speak. And there's differences in both. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I don't always love speaking in a virtual where I can't see the audience, because I can't connect as easily with them. But that doesn't mean it's not a good opportunity, right? So I think that is so important for folks to remember, that there are chances to get your message out, to practice, to be comfortable without literally being on a stage in front of hundreds, thousands of people.
And to be honest, do you want to fail in front of 200 people? Or isn't it better to fail in front of 10 or 20? And right now in the event world, I mean, you look at Grant Cardone, and you look at all these people, these huge 10X events, and they're huge stages. But to be honest, for you to really make an impact and to really close business, the smaller the group, the better, because it's more intimate. You get to know the people. You're more authentic in the room. There's an energy in the room, and you can close people a lot easier in a smaller group than you can in a larger group.
So now I guess we have all those different stages, and understanding where you are in your business and what you have to offer and your experience. What can be negotiated on each stage, right? How does somebody get to that point? When do you know you're ready to advance?
Well, I always say you need a spreadsheet. You need to get an Excel spreadsheet out there, and you need to start writing. Like, I was on Erica Gifford Mills' radio show. It was an hour long. I offered a free gift. How many people took advantage of that free gift? How many people were in the audience? What's the percentage that I closed? I was at the chamber event, and I had 30 minutes to do a talk at the chamber event. I offered a ticket to buy a ticket to my event. There were 200 people in the room. 20 people took that offer, 10% of the room, and then you get to know it, and then you'll say, oh, in a room of 200, I can close 20%. Now, am I willing to pay to be in front of 200 of my ideal clients in order to make that money? And then you do the math. But you have to know where you are and how you're growing. Because if you don't have those numbers, you can't make an intellectual assessment of what stage to get on.
And so again, you have to do that work. You have to, it's not just, there is a method to the madness. There is knowledge that you need to have behind the scenes. It's not a matter of just throwing a dart and going.
Right. And it's okay to throw a dart and go, but just let me know if you throw that dart and you go and you're not good, that event planner is probably not going to have you come back. And we talk to each other. Oh, you had so-and-so on your stage? Yeah, they bailed on my stage. You don't want that. You want them to say, oh my God, I had Patti Smith on my stage. She was freaking amazing. You need to call her. That's what you want to hear. So make your mistakes in the smaller group and get better, and then step on those bigger stages.
Great advice. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to finish out the show with a discussion on knowing the rules of the road. This is Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. If you missed any of the information during the last segments, go to getrootedradio.com to listen to the replay. Don't forget to subscribe, sign up for tips and special events and pricing for upcoming coaching sessions at getrootedradio.com. Welcome back to my guest, Toni Caruso. Toni, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I really appreciate it. Very nice conversation. I am so glad that we met.
Tell folks how they can learn more about you and connect and ask you questions.
You want to ask me a question? Email me, Toni@ToniCaruso.com. Very simple, very easy. I promise I'll respond.
Love it. So during the last few segments, we discussed knowing and understanding your audience, the clarity of your message, and what stage would work best for you. So during this last segments, we're going to talk about knowing the rules of the road. So are there rules?
No, there are rules. Please pay attention to the rules. It's a business, like I said. Speaking is a business. So understand the way that the event team works and the process of getting on those stages. If they are asking you to use an application to fill it out in a timely manner. Give them all the information you need. If I hire you and I ask you for your picture and you send me your picture and I'm putting it out on all my promotional things and you're going to be speaking on my stage and you show up and that picture's 20 years old, or your hair was blonde and beautiful but now you're gray, or you are a size 4 and now you're a 14, it doesn't matter. I'm not talking about, I don't want you on the stage if you're not blonde haired and a size 4. What I'm saying is you need to look like you now because that's what we're selling. And that's what we're sending out to our event people. And that's what our audience is going to see. So when I introduce you and you come onto the stage, if you don't look like all the promotional materials, you are immediately thought of as inauthentic. You have lied to the audience and they're like, whoa, she doesn't look like her. Can I trust what she says? So don't wait till you're perfect and the weight is perfect, and don't get yourself so airbrushed that you're non-recognizable. Be you, because we want you to be authentic. Perfect does not work. If you're too perfect, we don't believe you. So, sometimes it's funny when you trip a little on stage or you go, oh, I forgot to say this. it's nice. It makes you real and it makes you approachable. But one of the biggest things is if you know that you are not allowed to sell from the stage, don't get up there and sell from that stage.
Yeah.
Oh, can I tell you, that is the biggest no-no. You will never be asked back again, and you might be taken off the stage immediately. It's just, that's why you just ask the question, can I sell from the stage? No? Okay, fine. Would it be all right if I gave the opportunity for a free gift that's going to enhance my talk? Because I only get 20 minutes. I've got so much more information I'd like to share with your audience. Can I offer them a free gift? Of course. Now you've got them in your email nurturing campaign, and then you sell them down the line. And quick note, if I'm paying a percentage of what I sell in the room and I close 20%, but instead do a free gift and I close 80% and get those emails, I nurture you down the line and I close 50% of you and I keep 100% of the money. I don't know if all those numbers made sense to you, but if you just think about it, if you get all that information and you love on them for a long time, they might not be ready for you right now on the stage, but they might be ready for you in 3 months, 6 months, or a year. But as long as they're in your nurture campaign, then you close them down the line and that's where you make your money. But just know the rules. So if they say, I need a picture, I need your bio, I need your title and description of your talk, and I need it by a certain date, please get it to them by a certain date. They have to get all that information together to make sure that the event is being produced and promoted the right way. And if I'm working with 30 or 40 speakers for a 4-day event, it's a lot of information I need to get. And if I have to keep going after you and after you and after you, I'm not going to like you very much. And then, what kind of format do I need if I have slides? Please, please understand that Apple is not conducive with word processing. So if you have an Apple computer and you're like, I'm an Apple guy, that's okay. Download it as a PowerPoint. PowerPoint can go into everything. Don't give me a Canva presentation. Don't give me a Google Slides presentation. They don't all convert correctly. So I don't want to be up there trying to convert your slides 10 minutes before you're going on stage because they don't match with my audio visual team. So give it to me in the way that I ask for it. So if I give you a list of things I need, please give me those things in a timely manner and the proper formatting of it. That good?
It is. And these are important questions to ask because sometimes, I mean, the good planners will tell you these things. Sometimes they may not. And so make sure that you are asking the questions, right? When does this need to be in? What format, etc. And I love that you said about, your photos, because I was having a real hard time with that. I went through breast cancer treatment. I lost all my hair. I had long, dark hair, and somebody wanted me for a speaking engagement. And I'm like, I have no recent pictures because I'm bald right now. And I just have what I was 6 months ago, right? And so it was funny. And they're like, no. I'm like, I know, but I feel real inauthentic, right? Because and I know this is a different situation, but even then, once my hair started growing back, I'm like, my book had my last picture because that is what I looked like when the book was released. But, you have that. So I love that you said it because it's true. When they expect to see something and then they see another thing, and it's not to do with how good you look. It is with what they expect to see. Right. And plus remembering you. Are they going to remember you? When they have something that looks so different than that's in their hands. So I know we're getting close to the end, and we could talk forever more about this. But what is any last minute tips, tricks, anything that you want to share with the audience about anything about getting up on stage?
Well, I just think that the more you educate yourself and the more you understand the event process, the better you're going to be. You need to show up professionally. Whether you're just starting out, get that picture out there. Do you have on your website a tab that says speaker or media kit or hire Toni as a speaker, whatever that is? if you don't tell people you're a speaker, how are they going to know? So there are some simple things you can do. Put it in your bio, in your LinkedIn, in your Instagram, in your Facebook. You need to tell people, oh, you're a speaker? And then what do you speak on? And another big no-no is if I hire you, like if Erica hired me to talk about speaking on stages, and I showed up and said, you know what, Erica, I know you hired me for speaking on stages, but you know what I'm doing now? I've just finished my NLP course, and I want to talk about mindset and how women are not taking. Yeah, no, that's not what I hired you for. That's not the topic or the title. So please, please, if that's the topic I hire you for, that's a topic I want you to speak on. Don't change things up because you've changed. And Erica, if I were you and I had a picture of me with long hair, I would make sure that was on my first slide, and I'd walk on the stage and I'd call it out. Go, whoa, I bet you were expecting her. Well, let me tell you what happened with her, because your story probably tells about what you've been through and what you've experienced. And just understand that, and that's funny and that's engaging. And then the audience goes, oh, I love her because she called herself out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's compliments of chemo. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes.
But it is. I think it's important to be authentic, because when you're people can tell, right? So we're not all good at spotting lies, but we can get a feeling when you're in a room on how you resonate with that speaker, that whatever the workshop might be or the event. And that's important because people are drawn to people they feel comfortable with.
Right. Well, how many of us have been in an event and the speaker comes on, hi, I'm here to make you a millionaire. Turn to the person on the right and high five them and tell them they're perfect, and turn to the person, that energy, and I call it male energy, but it's that salesman, like you said earlier, that used car salesman energy. That's not people want to be. People want to be engaged. They want a conversation with the speaker. They want to know that you know who they are, what they're going through, and how can I help you? What do you have for me?
Absolutely. Toni, I really appreciate you taking the time today to be with us. Is there any last topic that we might not have addressed, or subject that we did not address about being on stage that new speakers or even veteran speakers should be aware of?
They should understand that their message matters, that just because somebody over here has gone through the same thing they did, and they have an audience and they're getting on stages and, oh, I'm not them, I'm not as good as them. Understand that you have your unique selling proposition. What you went through is different than any other person who's gone through cancer, who's gone through divorce, who's gone through miscarriage, whatever that thing is that you've gone through, you went through it differently, and it's your story, and it's your story to tell. And just know there are people out there waiting to hear that story from you.
Absolutely. That is some great advice. And the other thing I would say is comparison is a thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to other people, because you being you is always an original. So thank you again, Toni, for being on the show. And I want to thank you all for tuning in to Get Rooted Radio. If you missed any part of today's episode or want to listen again, go to getrootedradio.com for the podcast. And don't forget to tune in the first and third Monday of each month at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific right here on Transformation Talk Radio. Before I sign off, ask yourself if you are living a rooted life with appropriate boundaries. Are you the hero of your story? If the answer is no, set up your free Empower Hour call with me. No charge, no obligations. Go to getrootedradio.com to find out how I can help you take action now. And if you're ready to live, love, and let go, then my award-winning book and companion workbook, The Rooted Life, Live, Love, Let Go, is for you. Check out the bundle deal at getrootedradio.com under the author section. And also check out my new collaboration book, Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 16, that has been endorsed by Tony Robbins. Order your copies today. And one last personal message. If you are hurting or need help, please know the world needs you and is a better place with you in it. Don't let the hard days win. Reach out for assistance. Call or text or chat the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. That's 988. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there is no cost. Or text HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to reach a trained crisis counselor through Crisis Text Line, a global not-for-profit organization. Thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing day and know that you are loved. And I'm looking forward to the next time on Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills. Living it up, loving it up, letting it go. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Get Rooted Radio with Erica Gifford Mills, living it up, loving it up, and letting it go. Visit GetRootedRadio.com if you've missed any part of this hit show, and tune in on TransformationTalkRadio.com to live fearlessly in your more and powerfully rooted in your unlimited yes. For more information and to work with Erica directly, visit GetRootedRadio.com. That's GetRootedRadio.com, and get ready to live it up, love it up, and let it go.